Hello everyone, another day, another Black 2 White 2 battle, and this one using the same team as I used against Noah yesterday, against Leo, 6fthax as he's known on the YouTubes, and he's brought a rain team using the two genies which abuse rain the best, and I obviously have a sand, kind of, not really a sand team, but you know, I have a Cacturus on it, so it's okay. It's kind of a mesh of guys who are based around, you know, Breloom / Cacturus sweeping, so we'll see how that goes, and it was a pretty good one, this one, so we'll get into it. So I'm going to lead off with my Cavagus, knowing that it can pretty much take on any of the guys he decides to lead with, and especially Birdnadus. Birdnadus, the set that it runs is usually with Hurricane, and with U-Turn, Heat Wave, and Superpower, so he can't really go for the Hurricane because there's no rain up yet, and the rest of his moves are pretty ineffective against me. So he's going to U-Turn out, just do a little bit of a nublet of damage there, and straight into his Politoed to set up the rain for himself. So I decided to go for the Will-O-Wisp on this turn, just thinking as much you know, passive damage on that Birdnadus as possible is going to be great, simply because it has Regenerator. It's going to be switching in constantly, and you know, getting passive damage is what I kind of want to do. So at this point I was slightly afraid of him having seen Will-O-Wisp to go to Conkeldurr to get the Guts boost from it, but he ends up just going to Birdnadus again, obviously now able to go for the Hurricane on me due to his rain being up, and it does a decent amount. It does just under half, so at this point I'm thinking, okay, at this point, you know, Confagus can easily live another Hurricane, it shouldn't be a problem. I can rest back to full, and then once I've rested, I can keep Confagus just in the team for whenever I need to switch it in and just go for sleep talks and stuff and see how that goes. So I live the second Hurricane just about with 41 HP, but I get the confusion, so now I'm thinking, well, balls, if I get hacks at this point, this is going to really be curtains, because Confagus is very useful for my team, just to hold it together. It's the glue, really, that keeps it together, and the previous match when I didn't have it kind of fell apart. So thankfully I don't hit myself with confusion, managed to get the rest off, and Birdnadus is not looking too good. He has taken a lot of burn damage, and obviously, you know, stuff is happening from the hex and things, so that's not great. But at this point, I decided I'm going to switch out. I'm going into my Heatran. I wanted to get rocks up, thinking that I could, you know, dodge a Hurricane from Birdnadus and get rocks up. But he goes a double switch as well into his Thunderous, Focus Blast my ass, which I know I can live even if it's a Life Orb variant, simply because lack of stab and also special defensive Heatran. It does have 145 special attack, that thing, but I can still live it relatively well. So I live with 81, managed to get rocks on the field, and that's going to be so helpful because his Tornadus and Thunderous are both going to be weak to them, and it's going to do a hell of a lot of damage on switching. So I'm actually going to protect here just to scout what other moves he has and what he's going to be wanting to do, because I see his Life Orb, I know he can switch his moves up, and he decides to go for Volt Switch. So my plan here is to do a couple of pivots. So if I pivot straight to Cacturus on the electric move, I can then predict the Hidden Power Ice and pivot to T-Tar, which allows me then to outspeed him in Stone Edge. So that's kind of my game plan at the moment. I'm thinking I can just play him pretty simply. He's not really in a position to predict at this point, so he's just going to go for the simple plays. He goes for the Thunder there, which kind of reveals to me that he's carrying Dual Stab, just Volt Switch for, you know, scouting purposes and stuff. But now I can safely go into Tyranitar. I know he's not going to Focus Blast my Cacturus unless he was going to predict my T-Tar switch, but he doesn't. He just goes for the straightforward move. Works out in my favor because I take the Hidden Power Ice perfectly, and now I am free to just go for the Stone Edge on whatever I want to. Whatever comes in will do a decent damage too. So we'll see how that goes. He brings in his Politoed to take it. I guess multi-purpose switch because it is a defensive Toad, and he can also get rid of my Sand simultaneously, so he's sort of set up now for his Tornadus to come back in and do some Hurricane in action again, and, you know, easily sponge the Stone Edge. So not really an issue for him right now, but definitely want to keep Tyranitar around because I know it can outspeed a good portion of his guys with a Scarf, and can trap some stuff with Pursuit and all that good thing. So I go into my Vaporeon here, thinking that I can just take anything from the Politoed. Turns out that he kind of predicts that and goes straight to his Thunderous. That, or he just thought I might, you know, actually he must have predicted that, because otherwise switching Thunderous in on a Stone Edge is not the best of ideas. But it works out well for him, because now he has the complete advantage on me. I have no idea what move he's going to do, whether he's going to predict or not, and so I really don't want to risk anything. I just go straight to Heatran on the off chance that he wants to predict my T-Tar or my Cacturus. He could well have gone for the the HP ice, predicting Cacturus to come back in. So I'm just going to sack T-Tar, get a kind of fresh plate going, and see what I can do from here on out. So he brings in his Birdnatus, and at this point I really didn't think that it was Scarfed, because who the hell runs Scarf Birdnatus? Well, basically the match I had against Rich, I brought in my he brought his Scarf T-Tar into my Birdnatus, and he outsped me. So I'm thinking I'll do the exact same thing to him. I'll bring in my Scarf T-Tar and outspeed him. And what do you know? He's running Scarf Birdnatus. So balls. That really does blow quite a bit, because T-Tar is gone. I've now kind of lost the weather war. He's able to bring in Politoed whenever he wants, and he can just get his Hurricanes going again. So I'm definitely going to have to take advantage of the situation while I can, and by doing that I'm going to go straight into Cacturus, because obviously I resist the Focus Blast. He's not going to want to stay in and do that to me, and he's going to switch into his Ferrothorn to take whatever I throw at him. I decided that maybe Cacturus can do some work here, because if I get a Rock Polish up, I should be able to outspeed all his guys, and I'm thinking Earthquake should just be powerful enough to kill Politoed from its low amount of HP. It should be able to 2-hit KO Ferrothorn, and at that point I can do like a sizable chunk to Conkeldurr, and I can Stone Edge the 2 Flying Genie. So that's what kind of thinking. Maybe a little bit premature to set up with the Rock Polish right now, but I thought that I might as well just go for it, because why the hell not? And Ferrothorn not doing that much with Power Whip. It's a pretty significant chunk, but thankfully, because I had the Intimidate off, it's not going to do as much as it would have ordinarily done. And actually, I think I got the Intimidate on his other guy. I'm not quite sure if I even got the Intimidate on Ferrothorn. So yeah, because I Rock Polished on the Switch, so I didn't actually have the Intimidate on him. So that was just a normal Power Whip. Did a decent amount, but not enough, because, you know, I have, I guess, relatively respectable defenses. So in comes Politoed, and I'm thinking, well, I base 145 special attack, physical attack. I should be able to clean him out pretty easily, and I do clear him out of the field, and there we go. Politoed's down, not much for me to worry about in that department anymore, and I can just continually smash things on his team with Earthquake. He goes into Conkeldurr now. He can't go into his Birdnatus or his Thunderous, because Stone Edge would just outright kill them. Only thing he can do is obviously go to this guy, who I guess decided to go for the Drain Punch over the Mach Punch. Maybe Mach Punch wouldn't have killed me. I was thinking it might have done, but hey, I guess he didn't think it would, so he's actually going to take a lot of damage from my Earthquake, and finally Cacturus goes down, but it did a good job there, cleaning out Ferrothorn, cleaning out Politoed, and doing a very sizable chunk to the Rapu-Pushin, the Conkeldurr. So, at this point, I'm actually going to abuse his Rain boost by going into Vaporeon and going for the Scald, and I know I can easily take out the Conkeldurr from that range, because he's provided me with the Rain, so I'm very pleased about that. Vaporeon able to do some work here, and going well. But in comes the Thunderous, and I really don't want to take an electric move from that thing, so I'm going to go straight into my Cofagrigus, knowing that I can probably take whatever. But something I failed to mention throughout this match, his Thunderous has Regenerator, because it was a Saving error, and at this point he switched in twice to Stealth Rock, and he already took like a significant amount of damage from earlier. So what we decide to do, because his Thunderous had Regenerator by mistake, is that he's just going to use Focus Blast on me for a couple of turns, or quite a few turns actually, until he dies, because we both sort of recognize the fact that he would have been at sort of killable range. He would have died pretty reasonably because of what previous damage he had taken, and Stealth Rock and Sandstorm and Life Orb all stacked up really to the point at which we were like, well, let's just let this Thunderous die, because it shouldn't really be alive anyway. Just, you know, it should have Volt Absorb, but it has Prankster, because Leo had a Saving error. Happens to the best of us, so we resolved it in the end, and that's all that needs to be said really. So it dies finally, and he has this guy left, which is his obvious Birdnatus, which I shouldn't have too much of an issue with. I can just Sleep Talk him while I'm asleep, apart from I wake up on that term and hit him with a Hex, and after this should be able to die to a burn, which, you know, he will on this turn. So there you go, Hex with the burn, loving the Cofagrigus, doing the work, doing the stuff. And now all he has left is one guy, and his last guy is Haxorus. And I don't know whether it's a banded Haxorus, whether it's a DD Haxorus, so I'm just going to go Will-O-Wisp. I really don't care, but the fact that he goes for the Dragon Dance kind of shows me that he has a Lumberry, because you wouldn't really DD unless you did have Lum to take the Will-O-Wisp. Good thing about that is the fact that his Outrage is going to not be able to be stopped, I guess. He's going to be neutralized by the time that he stops outraging thing, you know what I'm saying, he'll get confused. He'll get confused, basically, instead of not being confused with the Lumberry. So at least I did some good by eliminating the Lumberry from the process. At this point, though, I'm really scared, because if Vaporeon can't live this outrage, it's curtains, because I don't think Breloom can kill it with a Mach Punch from this range. But, ladies and gentlemen, Breloom, the god, the lord, is able to, you know, pull its defenses into full tow and live with 37 HP, get off the Ice Beam, and I'm able to finish off the Haxorus with Breloom. He actually misclicks Dragon Dance, so he could have killed my Vaporeon, but of course I still had Mach Punch with Breloom still waiting in the wings, so I would have been able to finish him off from that range easily. But it just means that Vaporeon gets to kill him instead. So there you go. That is going to be the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You know, one of the better ones that I've had recently, I guess, save for the thunderous debacle there with the regenerator, but it's okay, resolved in the end, and kind of things worked out overall. So there you go, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you can leave a like, rating, and I would appreciate it. Check out Leo, his link will be in the description, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.